Hello friends, this video on water part 6 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. So now we will understand the process of cloud formation. So what happens is, as we go higher from the surface of the earth, temperature keeps decreasing. So as you go higher, the temperature would decrease. As you go higher, temperature decreases. Fine. So that means as air moves up, it gets cooler and cooler because at higher heights the temperature is less. So the air which goes to the higher heights, they gets cooler. So at large heights, so let's say when the air moves up, what is happening? The air is getting cooler. Now at sufficiently large heights, air is cool enough to cause condensation. Because at lower heights also water vapor is present, but the air is not cold enough to cause condensation. But when it reaches sufficiently higher heights, the air is a lot cooler. So now the air is cool enough to cause condensation. Now when it causes condensation, what happens? Water vapor gets converted to tiny droplets of water. So these tiny droplets of water keep floating as long as they are not very heavy. So these tiny droplets of water are like very light. Each droplet is very light. So since they are very light, they tend to float in the sky. Now sometimes what happens, all these tiny droplets, they start combining together. So let's say 2-3 droplets started combining together. Gradually when a huge number of droplets get combined together, they become heavy. Now when they become heavy, they cannot stay there anymore. So when they become heavy, they drop on the surface. Now, as long as they are floating in the sky, we see them as clouds. So as the air becomes cooler, condensation happens. That is, water vapor which was present in the atmosphere gets converted to liquid water droplets. Now these tiny liquid water droplets are very light. Therefore, they keep floating in the sky, right? But when a lot of such tiny droplets, so what we see as floating in the sky is cloud. So cloud is nothing but the condensed water droplets. That's cloud. Cloud is condensed water droplets. But when a lot of droplets like this, they combine together, they tend to become heavy. And when they become heavy, what happens? They fall as rain on the surface of the earth. So that's how you see cloud formation results in rainfall. So what is this cloud? Cloud is nothing but condensed water vapor or condensed water droplets, whatever you call it. So water vapor in the condensed form, in the form of tiny water droplets, that's cloud. But when the cloud becomes very heavy, it falls as rain. And that's how the water vapor gets converted into liquid water. So what we learned is clouds are condensed water vapor floating in the atmosphere well above the ground. So that's why clouds are not like very reachable to us. Now why clouds are formed quite above the ground level? That's because, as I said, that as you go up, the temperature would decrease. Therefore, as the air moves up, the air becomes cooler. So when the air reaches sufficiently large heights, only at that height, the air becomes so cool that it can cause condensation. And that is why the water vapor gets condensed to form clouds. So this cloud formation can take place only at higher heights, because only at higher heights the temperature is sufficiently low. So that's the reason we see clouds only well above the ground level. So let us now see that how water is going from the ground to the atmosphere, again coming back from the atmosphere to the ground. So this will be like a complete cycle or a complete circulation. So let's see. So whatever we have studied so far, we can summarize that in this way. So we see that water from the ground gets converted into water vapor in the air by the process of evaporation. So by evaporation, water is changing to water vapor. So water is basically going from the ground to the air. There is another process, transpiration, where water from the plants, that is water from the ground, is going to get converted into water vapor in the atmosphere. So now what do we have? As a result of evaporation and transpiration, we have a lot of water vapor in the atmosphere. So now these water vapor in the atmosphere, they condense together to form clouds, and when these clouds, they become very dense, very heavy, they fall on the earth or fall back to the ground in the form of rainfall. So we see that the water which was in the ground goes to the atmosphere, again comes back to the ground. So it is like a complete cycle. So we see water keeps moving to and from the ground. Thank you. Please visit www.examfear.com to watch more educational videos with a better experience. Please do not forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for latest updates. Thank you once again.